As far as choosing small group leaders for Disciple Now weekend, we're kind of a smaller church. So as far as the leaders go, that's a process that's handled more at the beginning of the year, the beginning of the school year. And I like to keep those leaders consistent throughout the year. So that events like this, it's a face that kids are already familiar with. It's someone that students have already developed a relationship with. So they're very comfortable in talking about things. I think sometimes it can become difficult when we bring in the cool leaders for a specific event, because a lot of times there can be a disconnect, and it's more of, I just want to talk to you because you're cool and not because I really trust what you're trying to teach me. So for us, that really seems to be what works. And we have a couple of guy leaders and a couple of girl leaders, and that's it. They're with us through the year.
Well, in recruiting small group leaders for our weekend, for our retreat, it's our goal to get our small group leaders that have led small groups in the year to come and lead the same group for the weekend. It gives them the chance to accomplish, a year's worth of ministry in 3 days. And they already have the relationships there. They've already kind of broken down any walls that may be there in communication and relationally. And so we go after those small group leaders first to come and be part of the weekend, because it's going to further their ministry. And then, other than that, we supplement that with volunteers that are, they're just passionate about youth. And we get a few that come in that may not lead a small group, but want to make an impact on a group of guys or a group of girls. And really our goal there is that maybe they'll stay involved in the lives of those students.
To recruit small group leaders for the Dnow, I've actually used a lot of different ways to do that. One time since I'm from the Baptist background, we went to the BCM, the Baptist campus close by, and we got leaders from there. We actually got them to suggest some college students who really were good, maybe wanted to go into the youth ministry one day, and we recruited students from there and just had an excellent Dnow with college students leading. Other than that, usually within the church, you just identify Sunday school teachers, people who've really enjoyed working with teenagers, parents, people who seem to have a fondness for youth and youth work. And that is usually where we start when we're trying to find our small group leaders for Dnow.
You know what, every church is different. You have to look at your church and you have to say, okay, what's available? What do I have to work with? And I think the number one thing is you're not going to always find the exact kind of people you want. They're almost unrealistic. We have unrealistic expectations. But what I do look for is passionate people. I look for people who love kids, who love being around kids. They may be great teachers or they may be great whatever, but if they don't have a passion, if they don't love young people, if they don't have a certain kind of affinity towards kids, it's tough to put them in a place where they're going to be uncomfortable or where the kids are going to be uncomfortable with them.
When you look for a small group leader, obviously one of the very first things I always look for is somebody that you trust. You are handing over a group of 10 or 20 of your students to a small group leader to teach the Bible to pour into, to have some very intimate one-on-one discussions with. So you want to have somebody that you know and trust. Now, what do you do if you can't? That's when I personally would go down the road. I would go meet with that youth pastor who I'm friends with, maybe that church I grew up at, and use some of those relationships that we have networking together and saying, hey, who do you have in your college ministry? Who would you suggest? And be able to pull in the absolute best team that you can to go and really pour into your students in this important weekend.